morning. I am feeling really good this morning. I think my period is wrapping up and my hormones feel less out of control. I don't feel as bloated. It's just nice to wake up and to not have my first thought be, what did I eat yesterday? Or my first thought being like, I wonder what my weight is on the scale, or what am I gonna eat today to stay thin and keep losing weight? I just woke up and it's like I thought about my day ahead. My dad's babysitting for the first time overnight. So me and my husband are gonna have our first solo overnight no kid experience for the past 5 years. That's super exciting. But I wanted to hop on really quick and talk about finding our self-worth and determining how we're gonna feel from something that's outside of ourselves. So the best example I have for this is using a scale. For, 17 years probably, I defined my self-worth by a scale, right? I woke up and it's like, well, how do I feel today? I don't know. Better check in with the scale to find out. I'd stand on the scale and depending on what it said, determined on how I felt. And I'd normally stand on and off of it 10 times just to make sure I knew the right number so I could determine how I felt. If it was too high, I felt really bad about myself. I felt gross. I was so angry. I needed to restrict more. If it was low, I felt better about myself. I'm recording this video in a public place, so a little nervous. If it was low, I felt good about myself. I was so proud of my self-will and control, and I determined I needed to continue to eat less so I could keep losing weight. So either way, the answer was always restrict more, and it was this outside thing that determined on how I felt. And the problem with that is those outside things will always change. It has nothing to do with us really. It's just this other thing. And other ways that I'll seek validation outside of myself are body checking in the mirror, or seeing my reflection in a window, or measuring the size of my waist. So all of these things outside of myself tell me how I feel instead of me just tuning in and being like, how do I feel today? This morning I woke up and I was like, I feel good today. And yesterday I was also starting to feel really good. Yesterday evening, I was giving my kids a bath and they're getting out of the bath and we've been singing that song, this is my fight song, take back my life song, prove I'm alright song. We've been singing that song a lot and my kids are knowing the lyrics. So we were just singing around and we were dancing and they were giggling and it was this beautiful moment. And in that moment I was thinking I am really happy and I am really present and I'm really connecting with my kids. And then a second later, I saw out of the corner of my eye the reflection of my stomach in the mirror, and it was bigger than I thought it would be, and I just started to spiral, and it's oh no, now I'm sad because now I know that I'm really not happy because this outside thing is telling me I'm not happy because I've gained weight and now I'm unhappy and now I need to start thinking about what I can do to lose weight so I can be happy. And in that moment I was able to be this is freaking bullshit. I'm happy in this moment, and if being a little bit heavier means I can be happy and present and connect with my kids and have a real life, not live in the prison of my eating disorder, then that's what I'm gonna do. So I moved the mirror and then I kept dancing and singing with my kids. So I wanted to share that experience with you, and it goes back to those neurotransmitters. It's those pathways in our brain. So for 17 years, I've made the pathway in my brain that if something outside of me can tell me what my weight is, and that will determine if I'm happy or not. So creating this new pathway of I'm just gonna connect with what's inside of me and let that determine my healthiness, regardless of my size, regardless of my weight, regardless of my reflection. And that's gonna make me happy. That's gonna be a new neural pathway I have to train. So every day it's, how do you feel? Connect with how your body feels, not the way your body looks. And those moments are huge wins for me. And it can feel like a struggle because when it's a win for me, it's a loss for Ed. And Ed will put up a little bit of fight, but that was a really cool experience yesterday. And that's how I'm feeling more and more. Yesterday I posted a video about how, especially with my hormones, the eating disorder is telling me that I'll never be able to recover. So would I rather be heavy and not recovered or thin and fit and not recovered? And my eating disorder tells me I'd rather be thin and fit, and it's telling me that because it wants to keep itself alive. What I didn't reiterate in that video is I don't think those are the only two options. I do think there's a way to be fully recovered. And that's the moment I got last night when I'm with my kids, or it's the moment I get when I don't know, I call a friend and I'm not thinking about food, or I go for a walk like with my dog and I'm just like enjoying the beauty of the nature. And like, I really don't think those are the two options. There's this third option of fully recovered, but I have to commit to it. And one of the ways I have to commit to it is I can't rely on outside sources to tell me if I'm good or bad depending on my weight and my size. That will always keep me in the cycle of binging, purging, restricting, checking myself from this outside source to tell me how I'm doing. And then no matter what that outside source tells me, if I've gained or lost, it keeps me in that cycle. Because if I've gained, right, I need to stay in the cycle to lose. And if I've lost, I need to stay in the cycle to keep losing. So the way to get out of it is to get out of the cycle and to throw the scale away, to throw the tape away, to cover the mirrors if you need to check in and just like show up and do recover and remember that there is a light and we are that light. We've just forgotten about it. We've covered it up with all this food that we've buried within ourselves, or all the restriction that's dimmed our light. And so when we come back to life, when we feed ourselves, that light turns back on. And instead of saying, holy shit, there's a light on, I gotta cover it up, being like, holy shit, there's a light on, I'm gonna bask in this glow and bathe other people in the glow. Don't really know where that metaphor of light, if that made sense, but I'm gonna go with it. I liked it. Be the light, you are the light, shine your light, receive the light. Light, 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 light. Okay, have a good day, you guys.